We are live 364 days a year.
What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
I'm not getting sushi after Monday Night Raw.
Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I am your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast on a day where it is Mailbag Monday, so we will be answering the questions that you guys have submitted to us. Now, I'm not going to lie, in terms of submissions today, 90% of them were basically WWE sucks right now, fire Triple H. And because we've basically just answered those questions the past 2 weeks, but we're getting asked them more and more and more and more and more, I've decided let's just stay away from those ones today. There's only one question about WWE's booking, and the rest are other hot takes, which you guys have submitted. But while the majority of the wrestling community are super negative right now, our first panelist today is somebody who is very usually quite positive about things, even though he wasn't necessarily about WrestlePalooza this past weekend. How are you, Dez?
I'm doing good. We started off Mailbag Monday earlier in the day. ESPN gave WrestlePalooza a C. But I can promise you this, for this Mailbag Monday, here at Wrestling Republic, we get an A for bringing you best wrestling content out there. I'm excited to get into the hot takes. Also, I hate football.
Fair enough. I mean, your Dallas Cowboys, they did lose. I mean, I can't say anything. Arsenal drew, so it's not been a great weekend. I mean, the Chiefs won yesterday, at least, I guess. But we don't have numero one in the comments today with the Blues Clues song for me to do. But what we do have is someone here who often has hot takes, and it is going to be a show, I think, with a lot of hot takes today. We have Ant Yu. How are you, Ant? I think he might have frozen for a minute.
He might have frozen. The hot takes were so hot that he froze over.
Yeah, hell froze over.
Yeah.
The Triple H tweet about CM Punk returning. That's what's happened here.
It just goes to show the takes are going to be very hot today. That's how Aunt Yui's were preparing. He's stalling out. He's stalling out for the hot takes.
We got Kana67 in the chat saying, and you for Prez. We got Angie saying, what's up, Wrestling Republic? We have Fernando saying, happy Monday, WR crew. Happy Monday to you, Fernando. And we got Christopher Leclerc with a very simple, but very, it's a great letter, just plain A. And you are back. How are you?
What's going on, guys? It's great to be back. I don't know what's going on, but it's Mailbag Monday. It's the best day of the week, if you ask my opinion. We had just an amazing weekend of wrestling. Everybody got to watch your favorite show, whether you thought it was good or not. I thought both shows were above average. Not great, not really even good, but above average. So I can't wait to have Mailbag Monday today. And yeah, let's get on with a great show.
Absolutely. I mean, I said I thought both were great shows, and I got absolutely just crucified for it, just murdered. I enjoyed them both. And what do I get for being positive for once? Basically just hundreds of hate comments, hundreds about them. But we got Say in the comments saying they should not be wasting John Cena's last matches on lackluster performances. Bear down. Well, let's get into the first question out of the gate, shall we? Because in typical Mailbag Monday fashion, it has gone off my phone, but I got it back up now. Our first question today, our first submission, comes from @RealJB Music on Instagram, who says John Cena's farewell tour is a D+ at most. Wow, just wow. When they did the WWE Unreal Netflix series, Triple H was talking to John Cena, and he said to him, look, I'll do whatever you want me to do, because it would be pretty hard to mess up a career this long. But Dez, has Triple H somehow managed to mess it up?
Man, I hate to be that person, but when this first was talked about, I was like, you know what? Let's give it time, right? It's still early on, but I feel like now that we have 4 days remaining, there's going to be a lot of times where we look back, even next year, and be, how good was the tour, right? You had stuff with Logan Paul, you had the heel turn, and at the time, on paper, that was one of the biggest moments in wrestling history. Using the power of hindsight, we don't really know anymore with Travis and The Rock. You had the feud with Randy Orton, which I feel like was fair with the shenanigans. The feud with CM Punk, which was really a lot of fun. You had the match with Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, and then the heel turn. I can't snap, but it was over just like that. Cena's like, you know what? I'm a good guy. You can't see me. And everything just seemed back to normal. I don't know. To me, it feels almost like a missed opportunity. But then again, if this is John Cena's call, then who am I to say it's a bad tour, right? It's literally in his image. Triple H has said multiple times that John Cena has done so much for World Wrestling Entertainment that if he wants to leave in his own path, his own shoes, this is the way it is. I'm just a fan, and I got to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but we're just going to have to wait and see what these next few months bring. I want to throw it back to you guys. What do you guys think about this tour overall?
Well, I'm going to be honest, Des, I have a lot of thoughts on this one, but before I get into them, I want to find out what Ant you thinks. Ant, what's your take on this?
Woo, this is tough, man, because there's not too many things that you can look back and say, okay, this person got a farewell tour. This person got a farewell tour. But the most recent one that I can think of for a person who got a farewell tour and it was done correctly was Sting's farewell tour in AEW. Now, I am not a Darby Allin fan. Everybody knows that. But putting Sting with Darby Allin and the magic that they made in those couple matches was beautiful. And I believe that WWE is doing John Cena's retirement tour wrong. There will be no John Cena slander in 2024. And December 13th in Washington, D.C., I cross my fingers that I'm there. And I want to see his last match. And I just you have to end it with Brock now. You can't have Brock come out and destroy him like that. You know, it's got to be like a Rocky movie at this point. You know what I'm saying? Rocky got destroyed by Apollo Creed in the first one. And then the second one was all about Rocky learning how to fight that style and coming out and prevailing and getting that huge hero moment at the end. So I think you can save it, but everything before has been a little, as MJF would say, mid. So,
I mean, fair enough, but I have to say, Ant, if Brock Lesnar is his final opponent, I am going to lose it. I am going to lose it. You can put over a talent who could be in this business for the next 10, 20 years. If you do it with Femi, it could literally be 20 years. If you do Gunther, 10 years.
No one needs to put over a talent on their farewell tour. It's not the Braun Breaker welcome in tour. It's the John Cena farewell tour. It is all about John Cena. That's like someone coming to your birthday and taking all your presents.
Well, I don't know if it's the same thing, really. No, I believe that when you leave this business, you should pass the torch. And to your point, yes, Sting won his final match, but it was a tag match, and he put over Darby Allin, really. Darby was the one who he passed the torch to.
You know what, man? I don't think we have people to pass torches, right? Undertaker is a torch passer. John Cena doesn't want a Legends role. He doesn't want to be a torch passer. John Cena has given everything to this business. And once again, if it wasn't for Stephanie McMahon, we wouldn't have a John Cena. So congratulations on her getting into the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no reason for John Cena to put over anyone else. He tried with Austin Theory. He tried with Solo. Like, John Cena has done that. Now let's just give the man his roses and let him ride off in the sunset as he should.
But could he at least, I don't know. I'd
I'd
like him to at least elevate. Yes, you know what? Have Austin Theory squash him in his final match. No, that's not what I'm saying, right? That's not what I'm saying. But you can do something at least, right? But Shard does agree with you here. He's saying he doesn't need to pass the torch to anyone. He can, very simply win in his final match. And fair enough, but just not Brock, right? If he wins against somebody else, okay, not Brock. He says that they're not tribalistic, but it doesn't feel like WWE cares about anything since they hate the money. Since they got that money. DCX Warlord says TKO just hates the fans. Justin Fleming says, yes, they effed up his retirement tour. And Fernando says the retirement tour has been very confusing. And
That's
Christopher
fair.
Leclerc, thank you very much giving us some praise, giving us an A. We appreciate you,
thank
Christopher. Ben Corbett saying, for something that was announced last year, the planning has felt like it was a bunch of ideas thrown into the microwave, and we are now seeing the end product. One times key storyline to bring in the next big face of the WWE. I'm going to be honest, guys. I think this John Cena retirement tour has had great moments. There have been great matches. That 2-week CM Punk feud was exceptional. The Randy Orton match, exceptional. The second Cody Rhodes match, absolutely brilliant. And even the Logan Paul match, even though I wasn't a fan of it happening, was really entertaining as well. But from a creative standpoint, right, I think that is just John Cena turning absolute BS into gold. I think Cena deserves the praise for all that stuff being good, because I think this has been just creatively one of the biggest nightmares, the biggest monstrosities of the Triple H era so far. It has been miss after miss after miss, and to Ben Corbett's point, they had a year to build it, and they did not.
Yeah.
2 months ago. 2 months ago, we were on a Mailbag Monday, and someone asked about Triple H and his bookings, and I said Triple H needs to give some of the creative over to Paul Heyman. And you people, I'm looking at every single one of y'all out there watching right now, came at me in the comments. I was called all kinds of names. I was fat. I needed to go touch grass. Now look at you. Now look at all of you talking about how terrible Triple H is doing. No, but when I said it, everybody had a problem. All you need to go touch grass. All you need to get out of your mom's basements, go out there and understand what wrestling's about. Because that was for you guys. My kids read those comments. They laughed at them too. But some of them were really funny. Some of them were really creative. Some of them were really funny. But when I said it, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Now, all of y'all are seeing it. All of y'all are seeing it.
You know what, and everybody suddenly has got on the same thought, a wave that you were on, right? They all owe you a massive, massive apology. Podcast Grifter Podcast says, it's not that bad. Kobe's retirement year wasn't all rainbows and butterflies. The difference is, that's a sport. This is an entertainment. This is scripted. They can make things rainbows and butterflies. That is the beauty of WWE, which is what Triple H said in the ESPN Open the other day.
Yeah, exactly. It's much different.
I don't get it at all. DCX Warlord says Heyman is the reason the Good Brothers got fired in the pandemic era. They are. Heyman is a complete liar
They
at times.
were
We all
not
know this.
good.
Yeah, they weren't that
The
great.
Good
I'm gonna be
Brothers
honest.
were not good. Dude, they went through
I like them.
How many times can you carry around a jar of men genitalia and think that's good TV? It's not the attitude.
I forgot
era
that
no more.
existed. But that
I
was probably
forgot it
Vince.
existed.
That wasn't them, to be fair. I doubt. It could have been
I wouldn't be surprised. That's such good stuff, pal.
I don't know. I
I
like
find
the
that
Good Brothers.
hilarious.
You just know that it was Vince humor. Luke Gallows and Vince McMahon, I think, have a similar sense of humor when it comes to stuff. But Angie says, yeah guys, apologize to Ant. And Shard is agreeing as well. But, guys, well, Fernando disagrees over that Good Brothers comment. I mean, look, they had some bangers. And Carl Anderson in New Japan, there was no denying him there. But in WWE, they kind of were there for the check. Let's be honest about it. But next question is from at m.lubrano1219, who says, if Finn Balor was never injured, he would have been as much of a star as Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. We wouldn't need Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso. This is a big hot take out of the gates, and what I will say to this firstly is Cody Rhodes is a lot younger than Finn Balor is. I think it's like 5 or even a few more years than that, even younger.
Sounds right.
So I think they still might have needed Cody Rhodes. And I think Balor's even older than Seth and Roman a little bit too. I think he's a couple of years older. But let's take that out of the equation for a second. Let's talk about Balor himself, because if he didn't have that shoulder injury in 2016, where he did win that Universal Championship, Des, do you think he would have for the rest of his career been in that main event scene?
Yeah, I feel like that's fair. My only thing with this is you could throw anybody in there, right? I always say the thing about WWE is you can have as many stars as it is. The wheel's going to keep on turning. They're always going to bring in new stars. It doesn't matter who they have. If they didn't have Cody, they got Finn Balor. They don't have Finn Balor, they had Drew McIntyre. The wheel just keeps on turning. I will say this kind of fits in a way with like NXT, right? Because when Finn Balor went to NXT, fans loved the guy so much. So he kind of had a similar path to Cody Rhodes in a way. Well, sort of, right? New Japan, indie darling, goes to NXT, goes to main roster. It doesn't really do the best, right? Unfortunately, injuries happen. And the injury, it did derail him to the point where he hasn't really been in that main event scene, and then went back to NXT. To be completely honest with you, I just don't think Vince McMahon was very high on Finn Balor, right? A lot of it's physique. You know, he's not the big dude, not the guy that could be the face of the company. So even if Finn was healthy, I don't really think he would have been the face of that brand. Now, if this was during the Triple H era, I feel like it's definitely possible. I guess it really is unfortunate what's going on with Finn Balor, right? He's so underrated. He's such a great hand. You know, he's had great runs in NXT. It really is just a shame, right? You've seen a lot of wrestlers have it where they have a big injury. They're shelved for a long time. I really still feel like there's some time for Finn Balor to go. But to say we don't need Cody and Jey Uso, I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of that when fans do that, where they'll be like, oh, well, this guy would be better if this guy wasn't here, right? Because you're trying to elevate the other person, but you're also trying to put the other person down on a lower pedestal. And I feel like you're still, you know, you're not helping the cause with it. But to be honest, yeah, I think you definitely could have been, for sure.
And I completely agree with you as well, Des. Like you said, there's a lot of people you can't say it for, but if Balor wasn't injured in 2016, I think he would have held that Universal title potentially. Well, I think he would have held it until probably Goldberg came back or something like that, or even maybe Lesnar would be the one to defeat him and then they'd get to Goldberg. So I think he would have had a 4 or 5 month frame with that championship, and then from there he would have been a significantly bigger star, right? Because when you hold a world title for that long, that does something to your stock, especially when you're that new on the main roster. So I'm going to be honest, I don't think he would have been Cody Rhodes. I don't think he would have been the face of this company. I don't think he would have been a WrestleMania main eventer, but I do think he would have been a multiple-time world champion. I think he'd be one of those babyfaces who throughout the year they'd give a short reign to take the title off of a heel, right? Somebody who doesn't hold it that often, and he's better on the chase, on the run, but he still, you know, does become champion quite a few times because, yeah, he deserved a lot better, let's be real.
I agree.
DCX Warlord says Balor got robbed at Extreme Rules. A lot of people wanted him to win there.
I remember that match. Oh, that match. Oh, that was bad.
So, as we've learned over the past couple months, entrances mean something.
Yes.
And I think you can take an average wrestler who has an amazing entrance and elevate them to main event status. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry. So Finn Balor, like when he had the, you know, like his NXT entrance, right? The doom, doom, you know what I mean? So that was so over. And if he didn't get hurt, him with the title, him coming out doing the Fiend stuff with the title, everything that made Finn Balor larger than life in NXT would have carried over to the WWE, and the fans would have gotten behind him just for his entrance because everyone loved doing it. When he brought it back out at NXT Homecoming the other time, the fans lost it. I had a friend that was at the show, and he was like, "You wouldn't believe how loud it was when Finn came out and did the old entrance." So I think Finn would have been a main event guy for probably 2016 through 2019. He would have been in the title picture. He would have been a main event guy. He would have been a prominent figure on WWE TV all the time if he did not get hurt. So I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think Cody Rhodes is another one that is a terrible wrestler who was horrible in the
Oh my gosh.
He steals stuff from his brother. He steals stuff from his dad. He steals moves from everyone. But his entrance is fire, adrenaline, and muscle. Everyone knows it. Everybody loves to sing it.
You're not wrong. Well, you are wrong with the terrible wrestler part, but you're not wrong about everybody loving his entrance. And it was the same for Finn Balor as well. I mean, Podcast Grifter, and I agree with this comment, says, I love Finn Balor, even that dude Prince Devitt, but he will be treated as Shawn Michaels and not a John Cena. But even if he was treated as a Shawn Michaels, that would have been a huge upgrade. Huge upgrade.
Oh, yeah.
He's saying that like that's a bad thing.
Right? HBK's the GOAT, man.
People still do the Shawn Michaels pose.
Exactly. Biggs agrees, and so does Shard. And Fernando says, for some reason, WWE cooled off right after Finn getting injured after winning the Universal Championship. I mean, I don't know if I agree with that. I enjoyed the Jericho and Owens stuff a lot. I do feel like there was a silver lining, and that was Owens and Jericho to that. Yeah. But look, it sucks for Finn, that is for sure. And Christopher agrees as well. Roundhead says, my Irish Prince and DCX Warlord was in attendance for that match as well. Saying he wanted Finn Balor to go to AEW. I mean, now I don't think he would have been a main eventer, but if he left right at the start, maybe he could have been. But Angie says, kind of sad.
Would have gotten the Adam Cole treatment.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. If he came there now, he'd be an Adam Cole. But if he went there in 2019, 2020, I think he would have been a huge, huge star. Angie says, kind of sad that he's at the top of his momentum and suddenly Finn is injured. It was heartbreaking. It really, really was. Especially to now know that he was never going to get back to that level again. That was it.
It's such a shame, man. It really is.
Your peak is your second match on the main roster.
I know. I love this theme song, too. When I would work out in the gym, I love that song. Catch Your Breath. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I cannot disagree with that one at all. But now time to quickly get into some adverts, because if you guys have not subscribed to the Wrestling Republic Undercard, what are you doing? Because we post daily clips on there from Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. But that is not the only content which we have here at Wrestling Republic, because we have this brand new nice and fancy graphic, because every Monday, make sure you check out with me, Shard and Clark, the Wrestling Republic weekly podcast. Every Tuesday on the Wrestling Republic YouTube channel, Allison analysis. Same on Saturdays as well, Raw and then SmackDown. On this Wednesday, I will be predicting the WrestleMania 42 match card 7 months early. Then on Thursday, me and Dez are going to be doing the top 10 NXT champions. And then on Friday, it is, as always, going to be the top 5 takes of the week here from Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. Make sure to check us out. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. We do content on this channel every single day. We're live every single day. Tomorrow is going to be the Raw review with Shard, Chaos, and Geordie. The Tuesday trio is back once again. But right now, let's get back into the topic, shall we? Because we still have some mail to cover. And let's kick things off again right now with a question from the Durgan, who says Ricochet is one of the best wrestlers currently on any roster. The man's ring work is exceptional. And I want to get your take on this one out of the gates.
Ricochet's not even the best wrestler on his own promotion. He's not as good as Tony Storm. He's not as good as Will Ospreay. He's not as good as Swerve. He's not as good as Hangman. I can keep going, but I don't think I need to. Ricochet is a great character, right? Ricochet, now that he's able to be himself a little bit more, he has a little bit more creative control over what he does. I think Ricochet is a great character. Ricochet's wrestling, like, if you love the Cirque du Soleil stuff, if you love high flying, if you love flips, then yes, Ricochet may be your favorite wrestler. But I can't say that he's the one of, if you're saying one of the best wrestlers, okay, you can say anybody's one of the best wrestlers. But I think there's way too many people on his own show, male and female, that are above him to put him in that category. We're not even going to compare him with people over on WWE because, there's people on NXT that are better than him. I wouldn't say that Ricochet's better than Obafemi. I wouldn't say Ricochet's better than Javon Evans. I could name a bunch of people that Ricochet's better than, but it doesn't put him in that top tier of wrestlers right now. Character, he's great. I love everything he's doing, but no, he's not one of the best wrestlers going right now.
Do you know what, Ant? I completely and utterly agree with you. I really do, because like you said, his character, his gimmick right now, it is working so well. People are calling him cringe, but that is the point. He is pulling it off. He is putting on great matches. But the standard of excellence in AEW is so incredibly high. He isn't one of the top guys, and he wasn't one of the top guys in WWE either. Doesn't mean he doesn't deserve more than what he's getting. But even still, like, there are just too many guys, aren't there?
And I don't think he would complain about what he's getting, right? He just had a huge triple threat match with the Hurt Syndicate. That's not nothing to sneeze at.
That's true.
The Hurt Syndicate is some great workers, and they got a win over them at All Out. Huge win. They looked really good doing it, right? But I think too many times we try to, we put our personal feelings in and we try to push people up that we think should be doing better, and that's the beauty of wrestling, though. That we can sit and we can talk about that and we can hash this out. And I can let you know that you're not the brightest person in the world because you had this take.
Wow, some beef thrown towards some of these comments. That is for sure. I'm a fan of him, but I don't think he is one of the best in the world. Biggs agrees as well. Fernando says he's in a much better situation now than he was in WWE and is one of the most talented people in wrestling. Angie says he's a great performer, but there are better wrestlers. And Podcast Grifter says, nah, the only thing he's added is getting slapped by his opponents. It's funny, though. I like that.
Yeah, I like it.
Don't forget the golden scissors. The golden scissors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're more over than he is.
The toilet paper, too. We mustn't forget that. Oh gosh, but he says as well that he had a match against Will Ospreay and Will was treated as a main eventer while Ricochet is still treated as a mid-card guy. Look, I think they're both great in ring, but I do think Will Ospreay has evolved a lot since that match. Since their initial match anyway, where he is just a better overall wrestler and potentially the best in the world right now. But without further ado, let's get into the last question of today, and it is submitted by Eilito Babies, who says women's wrestling is better than men's wrestling right now, both AEW and WWE. A very big take to have, especially considering women's wrestling gets 15, maybe 20% of the time in AEW, whereas in WWE, it's like 20 to 30% in both promotions. They're not getting nearly 50% of the time. But is it better than the men's, even taking that into account, Ant?
Oh, it's definitely worth taking into the account because I think with the women's wrestling right now, it's quality over quantity. And that's what they're giving us. WWE WrestlePalooza was saved by one match and one match only. One match put them over a C- rating to a C+ rating, and that was Io and Stephanie. Beautiful match. Those two women worked really well together. The women matches on AEW All Out were amazing, right? They showcased a lot of women, and we get the Women's Revolution, and the Women's Revolution was the best WWE PLE of the year. So it's not hard to say that the women's wrestling is better than the men right now. But I think you also got to take that with a grain of salt over they're showcasing the best women matches all the time, right? We're not getting mid-card or mid-level women matches, because when the women go out, they know they may only get one. They know they have to perform to the best of their ability in order to get one on the next one. It's sad, but it's true. But they continue to work and they continue to shine. If you really love women's wrestling and you want to watch a show to where the women get about 60% of the time, watch NXT. Sean and NXT are always showcasing the women down there. Simply put.
You're bang on with that. And I do agree, of course. You know, it is always the best that the women have to offer because they have to do the best with the little time they are given. But at the same time, I'm going to look at it slightly differently here. Because on every show now, from AEW to WWE, there's so many women's wrestlers who I look at and I'm like, they are so talented every time they get the chance. And yet they're not being given the chance much. So I honestly reckon if it was 50-50 right this minute, women's wrestling would still be miles ahead of men's wrestling. And that leads me to the question, why on earth do women not have 50% of the time when they are proving they can be as entertaining, if not more entertaining, than the men? I don't understand it, Des, at all.
I hate to say it, but it's more so for the casual viewer, right? Casual viewer, they're going to look at it and see Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, John Cena, CM Punk, Randy Orton, who are all good wrestlers. But we're the people that watch like every show, Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Collision, NXT, whole 9 yards. We watch it like weekly, so we know like who the best are. I think that's the reason why the women will get as much time. But with Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Io Sky, right? Stephanie Vaquera, she recently just won. Liv Morgan, adding those big names to the casual eye will give them more TV time. My honest opinion, take the casual take out of it, I agree. The women should have way more time. To be honest with you, I think the women's wrestling in WWE is better than the men's. Now, for AEW, I would say that for the entire portion of the year, but since Hangman has been AEW champion, I've loved his main event matches. And that's nothing to take away from the women. I just think his matches are subpar. They're elite. But the women's division in AEW, they have Tony, they have Mercedes. Now that Chris is in the discussion, my biggest thing with them was it's Tony and it's Mercedes, right? And everybody else, they're just here. With Chris being champion, maybe we can start elevating big names. Chris, Willow, Thekla, right? You have Marina, you have... I lost my train of thought. But you'll have a lot of big names there. And then for the WWE women's side, another thing that you want to add, Evolution was the best PLE this year. And guess what? It was probably the cheapest event to attend. That says something because exactly what you said, right now it is quality over quantity. And we're seeing that in real time.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And you mentioned there about, you know, of course, women's wrestlers, they aren't necessarily as big of stars as men's are in the mainstream. Apart from one person specifically, and that one person you also did briefly name, Rhea Ripley. Yeah. She is arguably a bigger star than anybody WWE has full time right now, right? John Cena's obviously bigger, Brock Lesnar's bigger, but Rhea Ripley in terms of full time stars. I mean, you've got Drake on podcasts just talking about her, and she's not even being brought up. He's bringing her up. And yes, obviously, I think he's shooting his shot to a degree, but even still, that shows how popular she is.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm with you. I agree.
Here's a hot take for you.
Okay.
If you really want to elevate women's wrestling and you want to have a true forbidden door, do the women of AEW versus the women of WWE. And that would sell out more tickets than I think any PLE that could happen just on a regular basis. If you did, could you imagine Nia Jax versus Willow Nightingale? Could you imagine a fatal four-way with the four horsewomen of wrestling? Like just that happening right now. It would be so beautiful. Chris Statlander versus Stephanie Vaquer. I mean, just the matches you could throw out there. Not even just throw out, but the matches you could put together from a forbidden door like that. And if AEW and WWE ever wants to get the ball rolling and just blow everything out the water, that's where you start. You start with the women. You let them put on just an amazing show. Yeah, shoot, dog. You make it free. You make it
Wow.
free on like a Saturday night main event. Do you know? I mean, think about it. Do you know how many eyes would be on that? Like, really think about how many eyes would be on that one show. Tony Storm versus Rhea Ripley. Oh, can you imagine the promos from that? You know,
I
Tony
actually
Storm
saw that
laying-
match happen in NXT UK.
Well,
Saw it in
yes,
person.
but they weren't who they are now.
True.
Tony Storm laying on the mat, just telling Rhea to come pin her. You know, like that stuff that could just happen. That would be beautiful. I think if anybody from the creative of either shows watch this and you really just want to put an end to all the tribalism, start there. Do a woman's Forbidden Door. Bring New Japan in. Bring Triple I in. You know, make it a 13 match card. AEW likes doing that anyway. It would be beautiful. It would be beautiful.
It would be, and Ben Corbett says we can dream, and absolutely it is a dream event, that's for sure. I can't see it happening, but it would be fantastic. Donnie says right now there are more mid-card women / upper mid-card women than ever before, but very few that can demonstrate star-level character and the ability to connect with a wider audience. I'm going to disagree with you there on that right now, Donnie, right? Because if you consider the amount of time those mid-card women get compared to the men's mid-card stars, when it's an actual fair comparison, I think the women do it just as well. I think the only difference is those mid-card stars aren't given as much TV time compared to the men's division stars, and that is why at the end of the day. But I do agree with you here. There's not going to be a forbidden door between WWE and AEW at all, but Tony and Rhea do have matching tattoos.
They do. This is true.
They do.
So perhaps we got Melly Rods 39 saying hi and over on Instagram, and Ben Corbett asks, do you think WWE should start doing more mixed matches following that Punk, Lee, Rollins and Lynch match? Will that push more women's involvement? What do you think about that, Des?
I'd say yeah, but honestly, I don't know. Like mixed tag matches, like they're fine and they're fun, but I feel like with women's wrestling, I want to get a story where I can really sink my teeth in. You know what I mean? Like when Becky, Lyra, Bayley had the story, Becky, AJ have the story. You got a story going on with Rhea, Asuka, Kairi, and Io Sky right now. Like those are the type of stories that I really want to see more of my wrestling. But I totally understand, right? The mixed match classic they had back in a few years back. It was a lot of fun. There was really no story. Actually, it kind of was a bit of a story, but not really. It was a lot of fun. So if they want to bring that back, sure, it could get them on TV, definitely.
I'm going to be honest. I liked the match the other day, but I, in general, hate mixed tag team wrestling, especially in WWE, purely because I think it just limits so much of what you can do when you have to do the tag. The other person has to come in from the other side. You can't do hot tags. You can't do stuff like that, really. It's very, very limited. But what's your thoughts, Ant?
No, man. I think Rhea and Asuka, I think this feud could be generational if they bill it right. If they start working it, if they reintroduce Asuka as the NXT Asuka. Because Rhea is the most posterizing woman figure that we've ever seen. China was amazing, but Rhea is known everywhere. Like there are people who have never watched a wrestling match who know who Rhea Ripley is, which is crazy. When they did the ESPN show, like she got the biggest pop out of not ESPN, the Netflix, when they did that first Netflix show. She got huge pop. Shout out huge pop, Donnie DeSilva.
Absolutely.
But no, man, it was just super fun. Happy belated birthday, Donnie.
Absolutely, yeah. Happy birthday yesterday
man.
to Donnie there as well. And he's got a comment here, and I think this actually is a good one as well. The problem with mixed tags is unless you add a mixed tag belt, like in Mexico, the story is kind of some emotional one. And that is true.
He's
Again, it
bang on.
limits the story. Perhaps, just perhaps, adding a title could be the solution to that. It would at least add some stakes. But even still, there's only so many formulas you can really do with a mixed tag team match because of the format of it, unless you make it that the women can attack the men and vice versa. But obviously in WWE, that is not going to happen because sponsors would flip.
It's true.
But you never know, maybe one day. D6 Warlord. R-Truth is still the only person who never entered the Royal Rumble after he won the Mixed Match Challenge with Carmella, and he never got eliminated. So technically, he should have main evented WrestleMania. On that note, guys, I think it's going to bring us to the end of the show. Thank you so much, Stan. Thank you so much to Des, and thank you to everybody who's watched. The comments have been on fire today. Make sure to check us out same time tomorrow to check out Shard, Chaos, and Jordy's Tuesday Raw review. Allison analysis tomorrow morning on the YouTube channel as well. See you guys then.